Gemma North is an actress originally from Yorkshire, now residing in Manchester. After a training at Bretton Hall in West Yorkshire, she appeared in a series of short films in the mid to late 2000s. Gemma then got her well-deserved opportunity in long-running shows such as Emmerdale, Coronation Street and Doctors, and she's not stopped appearing on our television screens since, putting her name to over 20 television and film roles, most recently appearing in cult classic Peaky Blinders, The A-Word and Butterfly, and No Offence. Gemma North has worked with some of the country's best writers, like Kay Mellor with shows such as The Syndicate and In the Club, Pete Bowker with The A-Word, and Stephen Knight on Peaky Blinders. Cotton Wool is Gemma's second time working with director Nick Connor, after previously starring as Joan in his previous film Northern Lights. In Cotton Wool, she treats us to a performance of compassion, empathy, sensitivity, and almost harsh professionalism as she appears as social worker Liz. Gemma North is an actress that has had a professional journey that many emerging actors would love to replicate. She is an actress that truly puts the hard work in, and that's why I'm delighted to be speaking to the wonderful Gemma North. Hi Gemma, how are you doing?
Hello, I'm really good, thank you. How are you?
I'm all right. I'm surviving during lockdown.
Good. Aren't we all just surviving? That is all we're doing right now.
How are you holding up during lockdown? How's it going?
It's like everybody else. There's days where you go, this is brilliant. I'm getting so much done. I'm being really creative. Actually, we all needed this. We needed to strip back and get back to what's important. And then there are days where I'm just like, I want to run and keep running.
Yeah.
Just never come home. Yeah,
I saw someone say it's the perfect time to kind of reset. I think it was in the live stream yesterday. It's the perfect time to reset. I think that was a great point.
It is. I was of that mindset maybe 2 weeks ago. I was kind of like, yeah, this is actually a really good opportunity to go, okay, where am I at in my life? What am I doing? Where am I going? And this week I've very much felt like I'm kind of just treading water. And actually it doesn't, because no matter what idea you have or sort of thoughts that you have going through your head, there's nothing you can do.
Yeah.
And certainly in terms of creativity, you are limited and you're kind of going, okay, so maybe I should buy that. Maybe if I buy a microphone, maybe if and it's constantly going, how can I generate? Because as actors, as performers, as creators, it's in us to just go, okay, what's next? Yeah. And in this world, there's not a lot that's next.
Yeah. It's that human connection of creating stuff with people that's just completely lacking and that's not.
Yeah. And in some ways it's quite freeing, because there's something to be said for example, doing online improvisation, which is what I've been doing recently with a friend. There's something to be said for just going, do you know what? I've had an idea. Let's do it.
Yeah, 100%.
And we just do it, and actually the quality's not great and the quantity of it isn't necessarily great, but I'm going to put it out there because I want to create and I want to produce.
Yeah.
So there's something to be said for that. And I do think people are more willing to sacrifice quality at the moment for content, because we're desperate for it, aren't we? We're desperate to be entertained. And it makes you realise how important the industry is.
Oh, yeah, 100%. It's important to society as a whole. And you've got places like National Theatre coming through and doing their live shows and their National Theatre Live that are keeping me going anyway of watching theatre.
Absolutely. Well, that's it. I mean, it's not the same, but... No. What a great opportunity to be able to see these wonderful shows with brilliant actors. Yeah.
And I think it's bringing theatre to people who maybe won't be able to afford to go to the theatre in the first place.
Yeah. It'll be a seismic shift in the creative industries, and it'll be seismic in a negative way, but it'll also, I think, it will breed new talent, hopefully, and new ideas. And I really do think there's going to be a lot of good that comes out of this.
Yeah, I hope so.
We have to believe that, don't we?
Yeah, that's the only thing getting us through.
Yeah.
So looking at Cotton Wool, this is obviously your second time working with Nick, but what attracted you to the role in Cotton Wool and what attracted you to the film and the script?
The script was so simplistic. It was so beautifully written in terms of, I really got a sense that Nick knew exactly what he wanted to achieve from this film. that there was nothing gratuitous, there was nothing in there that shouldn't be in there, and that it was all about care. And by that I mean care for each other, and also care for the script and for the film. It was just a really it felt incredibly powerful to read. And then of course when in being directed or on set and chatting to the other actors about it and working with them and feeling that come off the page, I knew it was going to be something quite special.
Yeah,
because
because I can't imagine what that on set kind of camaraderie must have been like, to have such a short space of time to actually shoot it in, and then you're in such a small space, and it must have been amazing to tell that story. And
amazing when you're working on something that has got a really limited amount of time to make it. The concentration, the focus on set is so different. So, you know, working on something with a larger budget, which of course still has incredible pressures put on it in terms of time, but they're just feeling like there's a little bit more wriggle room for a few more takes and that sort of thing. There was something really great about it being done in such a small amount of time, because it meant that each take really mattered. So each time you did a take and you moved on to the next one, it was very much, okay, come on, what's it going to be? So it's a really great lesson as a performer to really hone in on that detail and very quickly.
Yeah. Nick told me that you were a massive collaborator in like kind of reconstructing scenes and restructuring scenes on set.
Yeah. So previous to sort of pre-shooting, I was sort of reading through the script with him and just going, oh, I'm wondering if that could go there. And because I do a lot of script writing myself and a lot of editing and stuff. So unfortunately, Nick is such a brilliant collaborator, and he's not in any way precious or, well, it's my baby and I wrote it. So if you make a suggestion, say, look, my character probably would say something more like, he's like, great, go for it. And I think that's really important, because actually, even the greatest of writers, and they've got the voice in their head and they're writing it down, it's not until, and as actors as well, it's not until you're in the room with the other person and responding to something that you go, that's not sounding quite right. And like I say, Nick's just brilliant at just going, you're absolutely right, go with it, go with what feels natural, and as you know, as long as you're sort of staying within the parameters, you know, we're all good basically.
Yeah, there's kind of nothing quite like hearing actors read your words out loud for the first time and realizing kind of, oh, maybe that's not right, and that's amazing, and they've brought more to that than I could imagine.
Yeah, that's it. And it's really hard, I think, as a writer, because you're so attached to what you've written, because each word will have mattered to you. Hopefully each word will have mattered to you. And every word has to count, because especially if you're writing a short or something in between a short and a feature, you know, you're really sort of going, okay, I've got to pare this back. I've got to make sure that every word counts. So yeah, I think that there's a real risk that as a writer you go, yeah, but I put that there for a reason, and I need it there because it says this. And also I really took a long time over that. It doesn't matter really, because if it doesn't register and if it doesn't make sense and it doesn't feel right for the actors, you know, working together with it, then it can't be there, you know. And Nick's brilliant at just going, yeah, you're right.
Yeah, sometimes that rhythm of an actor's speech, that one word just needs taken out, and then it flows so much better, and it's about having a compromise, isn't it?
Exactly, yeah.
Yeah, so obviously you worked on Northern Lights before with Nick, and he was 16 when he made that film, and then 17 with Cotton Wool.
He's got to stop being so talented so young, because what's going to happen is young people are going to take all of the oldies jobs because they're too clever, too young. What I'm going to say to him is, stop it. Stop being so talented, Nick.
Go be a barman for 10 years, please.
Yes, go and be a normal boy, please. You know, get into scrapes and... No, he's... I could not believe that when I worked with him that first time, I could not get my head around his age or the amount that he'd pulled together. Likewise with Katie, you know, being so young and so talented. There's a massive part of me hating them both.
Oh yeah, same.
And then there's a huge part of me just going, oh my God, you are going to go far. And it has been an absolute honour to be a part of that journey with you, you know, because they are brilliant. But yeah, for Nick to have written, pulled stuff together, had the confidence, and in some cases, audacity to go out there and just say, I'm going to make it because I want to make it.
Yeah.
I just think is incredible.
Yeah, because especially at like 16, 17, when I was still in school and college, getting in stupid trouble, and he's out here making such important stories. It's inspiring.
Yeah, he's a very clever boy. And again, I'm saying boy like I'm his mum. What a clever boy, isn't he? Growing up to be a lovely lad, but he is. He's a rare talent. Because actually, even if you make films at that age, and people go, "Oh, well done, you've made a film, that's great," but to make it with such quality, you know, and that's hats off to Cherwell Productions as well for just going, we're doing this. And again, that sort of they're a force of nature. You know, we are we are going to make this film and it's going to be good. And you just get carried along on that wave of okay.
It's going to be amazing.
Yeah, I'm along for the ride, defo. Yeah. So yeah, it was lovely to work with them, and then lovely to be asked to work with them again on Cotton Wool, and to work with the brilliant Leanne Bess. You know, she's absolutely gorgeous, and you know, gorgeous Max as well, who I worked with in the A Word.
Yeah.
You know, such a brilliant boy. And I can call him a boy because he is actually a boy.
Yeah.
But such a brilliant little talent who, you know, I've seen him grow up as well. So, you know, when he started on the A Word in series 1, he would have been like 5 or 6, maybe 5. And then series 2 was sort of when we made Cotton Wool. And then series 3, which has just gone out, you know, he's meant to be sort of 9 or 10 now. Yeah. And just seeing that development and his focus and obviously his focus has increased because I've got a 5-year-old child who can't sit still for 5 minutes unless I've got, you know, YouTube for Kids on. But his focus and his understanding of what a director is asking of him, to have learned that skill so young, is phenomenal.
And I think so many actors are still trying to learn that skill. Like, absolutely.
So he will, you know, if he does go into it, which I know that he's got a real passion and a real interest in the performing arts. If he does go into it as a career, then, you know, he's got a massive, brilliant foundation. And working in different ways as well. So the A Word, you know, big budget, BBC drama, you know, series 3, and then working on sort of, you know, indie films and working in that realm. I just think he's if he wants to, he will go far. Yeah, he's an amazing talent, and he's a people actor. Yeah. What was it like working with him again on the A Word? What was the A Word like? What was that like? A Word's a great thing to be involved with. You hear it a lot that people go, "Oh, it's like a big family." It was just, you know, because we're all staying together in the lakes, and you know, you're all up against the challenges of weather, like sideways rain. And you're meant to be looking like you're having a lovely camping trip. You know, and it's like, can you stop flinting, please, Gemma? Yeah, that's it. Can you stop looking cold, please, Gemma, and cold and wet? So yeah, it's when you're up against those challenges of location filming, and you're all in it together, and you're sitting in cars sort of dripping wet, going, I just need a cup of tea. That's all I need. The camaraderie, the togetherness, the collaboration, and the respect for those guys and women who are stood out in the pouring rain, and us actors get to go and sit in the car and have a cup of tea, and they're just stood out there all day. You know, all day long in their waterproofs that are no longer waterproof. You know, hats off. They are a hardy core group, and it was just, it was a brilliant experience. In this series, my character Sarah has come into it in a much bigger way, so I got a much more, I suppose, well-rounded experience, A Word experience this time. Yeah. Previous 2 series, Sarah popped in as this neurotic mum, looking at a son, Bill, who has got loads of allergies, and he's hard of hearing, and she's a single mum, really worried for him and wants him to be out in the world and having good times with his friends, but ultimately just wants to keep him close to her. And that's sort of what we've gleaned over the past couple of series. And then this one, she comes into it and organises a camping trip for her son and for Joe and for some of the other kids that he hangs out with.
Yeah.
And her and Paul, Joe's dad, strike up a really unlikely but a really lovely relationship.
Yeah.
Because Paul and Alison are now divorced. They're now living completely separately. And I think Paul kind of goes, I don't know that she's the right person for me, but there's something about her that I quite like. So I'm going to go with it. And they kind of just go, oh, okay, this kind of works.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's lovely. It's a really lovely story and beautifully, beautifully written by Peter Bowker, who I just think is one of the best television writers out there.
Oh yeah, he's amazing and so inspiring, and the stories he tells are so important, and it's
really important. And he's always got character. He's always got the character absolutely at the forefront when he's writing. It's funny, even when I was sort of coming in as like a 1 scene or a 2 scene in the first couple of series, he was always really careful to make sure that this character, who's essentially coming in kind of as a bit of light relief, she's kind of a bit ditzy and a bit neurotic, and it's quite funny, but ultimately she's still got heart and she's still got a reason for that. And he always wants that to be there and wants it to be prevalent, and he doesn't want it to be gimmicky or she's just there for it's all so well rounded and so accessible.
Yeah, it's
joy to perform his writing, honestly. And that just pops off the page. You literally go to the read throughs and it's just like it's there in front of you.
Yeah, I can't imagine what them read throughs are like. I bet they're amazing to be.
Yeah, really lovely, quite moving at times as well.
Yeah, gorgeous. Talking about important stories, how important do you think the story of Cotton Wool is to be told right about now?
It's so important. Well, especially now. I mean, gosh, think about the amount of children who are at home with their parents caring for them during this time with absolutely no sense of relief from the outside world. There's no connection to the outside world for them to have that little stopgap, or I'm sure they will still be having visitors coming in. So my character Liz, who came in and sort of guided the children through it, I'm sure they still have contact, but I just think it must be so isolating at the best of times for children who are acting as carers, or for anybody acting as a carer, that in this situation for that to be heightened so drastically. It's when you start thinking about it, it gets a little bit empowering, doesn't it? Because you think about the daily struggles that like say myself with my 5-year-old, trying to keep her occupied, trying to do a little bit of homeschooling, even though really she's just started to read and that sort of thing. I'm getting a bit bored. I feel like I'm putting on a bit of weight because I'm eating more than usual and drinking. All these things, you just go, they pale in comparison to what some people are going through. So I think it's really important that this goes out now and that people are able to access it and go, okay, this is one person's story, one family dealing with these incredibly real things, and it will hopefully make people feel less alone, hopefully make people I suppose empathize a little bit more with their situations and do put things in perspective during this time of lockdown and go, it's not all that bad for many of us, Yeah,
100%. And I think when that stat comes up at the end and it's like, wow, that's going on everywhere, and before I watched that film I had no idea, and it's heartbreaking, and I feel so naive that I didn't know about it. And it's
and that's it. And actually you kind of go, yeah, it is naive, but ultimately I think it is one of those things, unless you go through it or have somebody close to you that's been through it, you're not going to be able to fully understand the depths that you have to swim in that situation, in that emotional, logistical, you know, for Jenny, Katie's character, you know, that real development of character for her, of this real reject and anger and vehement dislike of her mum for putting them through this, you know, and that development of character of just like, okay, we need to be a team, we need to pull together, which in itself has got global messages, hasn't it, you know?
Yeah, 100%. And it's got so much more macro, kind of more important societal kind of points that it's trying to make, and it's so
that's it. It's a tiny little story which has a huge impact. I'm incredibly proud to have been involved with it. Incredibly proud.
Yeah. So what was it like getting into the role, and how did you kind of research the role, and what kind of process did you go through?
In terms of researching the role, it was very much just a case of what is her job? What is her, if you were to write it down as a job application, I suppose, what would she need to fulfill in this situation with these children? And I think you see it in that first scene that she very much needs to be a figure of control, and almost a mum figure, almost touch on that element of being parent, because the parent that they've got at the moment isn't able to communicate fully. So it's kind of, you see her talking to Jenny and pushing that, no, you need to let your mum talk for herself. And it's almost like a teacher role. She has to fulfill all of these different sort of carer roles in a very short amount of time, because they're up against it in terms of how many people they've got to see in one day. So you've got duty of care to this family, but you've also got duty of care to the next family that you're going to, and the next family, and the next family, and the next family. So it's compartmentalizing each individual situation that they're processing, that they're going through. And it's hard, because when you're the actor playing in this film is your world. It's your everything. So it's hard playing that character and not feeling that, and not investing fully in these characters, because you want to be fully a part of the film. But ultimately she can't be, because she has got to go on and go on and go on, and she's got to invest with those other people as well. So it's about being cool, I suppose. It's about being calm, it's about being collected, but it's about showing that you are there, and that you care, and that you are warm, and that you're approachable. And then also you see her playing almost like a sort of friend sister role, you know, later on when she is sort of in the sort of, you know, needing to go to the toilet scene, which is so moving. And you know, again, it's really hard, and I know that it's a while ago that I saw it, but I know that there was a tear in my eye in the playing of that, because I truly believe that in that situation, how can you, as a woman, how can you completely switch off from empathy toward a woman who is clearly going through deep distress? And it's that excuse me, it's that sisterhood thing. So I was sort of at the time going, oh God, I wish I hadn't welled up, but actually in retrospect I kind of think, no, I think that's right. I think that's good, because it shows also that she's got that empathy coming from somewhere.
And it's almost that your instinct, as not as an actor but as a person, to well up, is kind of the same instinct that character would have in that situation.
Exactly. But that's our job as an actor, to overthink what we've just done and self-criticize. So, you know, coming away going, oh God, why did I do that? And then going, no, actually, like you say, it's because it's a normal response to a situation that actually has moved you.
I think that self-critical nature is in every actor. Why did I say that line that way? Why did I not
Absolutely.
Why
Yeah.
don't
And
you
you're
do that?
watching it back like that. Oh,
Yeah. Yeah. So obviously you've worked on massive productions now, like Peaky Blinders, and one of the biggest productions in the UK at the
I
moment.
know. So exciting.
One of the biggest cult classics that's currently happening.
I
What
know.
was it like working on such a big production like that?
Um, it was actually genuinely just exciting. I just really enjoyed my time there. Um, they all take it so seriously, which is wonderful to be a part. I mean, I'm by nature, I like to have a bit of a laugh.
Yeah.
So when I go on set, I'm kind of like, "Hi guys, how's it going?" And immediately was like, "It's not that set.
Yeah. Okay.
It's not that set." But that's quite exciting, and it's the focus and the care and the, what's the right word? I think it's because they all know that it's this cult classic now, that it's a secret club.
Yeah.
So it's kind of like they've got their own language, their own way of dealing with things. It feels really dangerous on set. It feels really edgy. You never feel sort of like you can kind of kick back and just, enjoy your time there. It's like, what? Okay, so yeah, sure, let's go, let's do it. So I from my perspective, as a guest in that, I kind of went in just super excited and overawed by the enormity of it.
Yeah, I can imagine.
It was huge. I mean, it's film scale. It's film scale. It's incredible. But I'd worked with the director on Butterfly.
Yeah.
So it's really lovely that I could, I had somebody that I could gravitate towards, because when you're sat in front of Cillian Murphy,
Yeah.
staring at you, it's like, so yeah, I was very
Being
lucky
really
that I had,
intense as well.
you are,
Being really intense
just being really intense with you, which again in itself is super exciting.
Yeah.
Cillian Murphy is staring into my eyes. This is wonderful. But yeah, to have Anthony Byrne there, who I kind of knew from Butterfly, it kind of just sort of, it helped just alleviate a little bit of that.
Yeah, 100%. And also you've worked with one of my favourite writers as well, on multiple occasions, Kay Mellor.
Yeah.
I love Kay Mellor's writing so much. And
she's gorgeous as well. And she's directed a little bit as well.
Yeah.
She, my audition for the Syndicate, I remember going in, and I was going in for like a really, really little nurse part or something. I think she was just nurse. And I went in and had a chat with her, and she went, "Oh, you went to Bretton Hall?" I went to Bretton Hall, and I was like, I always know, whenever I meet a Bretton Haller, I always know that we're going to get on. Yeah. Because it was a very particular type of training. So most people that have been to Bretton Hall all come out and go, "Oh, you're from Bretton Hall. Okay, good. I know the kind of person you are." So she went, "Oh, well, if you're from Bretton Hall, let's get you doing some improv." And I went, "Yeah, sure, no problem." Right, okay, so here's your scenario. I want you to think about, you're in a changing room and blah, 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 and she went through this really elaborate thing, and I was like, yeah, sure. Anyway, I had a good time. I enjoyed it. And then she offered me this role of Abigail, which I was like, who is she? Like looking through the scripts going, who is she? Oh, lovely. Oh my God, this is amazing. So yeah, it was really, really lovely to work with her. And on set, as the writer, she just kept coming up to just going, "Right, just make a dead posh, yeah? Dead posh." And I was like, oh, I like that direction. Yes. I know exactly what you mean.
Yeah.
Exactly what you mean, Kay. Yeah, a joy to work with. Really, really lovely. And again, it's that attention to detail. I was actually talking to Peter Bowker yesterday, and because he was saying, "Oh, I've had some lovely reviews and blah, 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 I'm really pleased with it." And I said, what's so special about your writing is there are lines in it that you take for granted when you're performing it. And this is really similar to Kay Mellor's writing. They're completely different writers, by the way, but there's something similar in that sort of observational writing, I think. there was one line in this series of The A Word where Sarah, my character, goes into a wedding and sits down next to Paul, and they just go, hello. And he goes, hello. Why are we whispering? And it's just that, why are we whispering line that you're just like, oh, there's just something so special about those tiny little minutiae of life offerings that they give. And it was similarly the case in just these little one-liners that make all the difference.
Yeah, I think she's amazing at stuff like that, and just the little small details that she puts in.
Yeah, it's really special, isn't it? It's really special, and it really defines character as well. I think it really makes the difference between, because that's another thing that people forget in writing, is that each character has got to have their own voice.
Yeah.
And actually, you know, that's so hard to do, because you've got to be the sort of conduit for all of that. You've got to be the puppet master for all of these different speech patterns. Some people will stutter, some people won't be as articulate as other people. And how do you write that? It's a mega task. I would not know where to start with writing a television series. I just would not know where to start. A sketch, fine.
Yeah.
A whole program.
No idea. Yeah. And it's to keep it up for sometimes 3 or 4 seasons.
No. And keep the material going and keep it fresh. And, you know, I just think it's incredible.
Yeah, it really is. Yeah, it's amazing.
Big respect for them.
Yeah. I also want to talk about No Offence, because you had such a breathtaking role in No Offence, and it was such an amazing, deep role, and it was amazing to watch you in that. So what was your process like for that? And did you...
I went in to that casting going, no way am I going to be cast in this role. Not a chance. One of those castings that you just go in for going, I'm not right for it, but I will give it a go, because I'd love to be right for it. So I went into the casting and I did it. And I think the casting director might have had a similar thought. And they kind of went, can I get you to read a different part? And I was like, yeah, sure. And it was very much more my kind of casting.
Yeah.
And then I got offered it. And I was like, are you sure? Me? So the reason why I didn't think I'd get it is because I've never, ever cast as sort of down and out, you know, hard nut. Ever. So I was really surprised. And actually it kind of, to get that part made me go, okay, there's a learning experience here for me to go, okay, get over that, and never ever go into a casting with that attitude again, because you are an actor and you should be able to play a multitude of roles, and they've seen that. So you just get rid of all of that now. So I immediately, there was no research to be done as such. It was all there on the page, really. And again, that was a lovely opportunity, because in one of the episodes, she was in it for a scene, and then it just sort of grew and grew throughout the series, which was lovely. To put yourself in the role of somebody who has the capacity to lock children in a ground floor flat and put them at risk in such a monumental way is really difficult and really exhausting. And on set, I was absolutely exhausted by that role, because how can one person allow themselves to be put in such a situation? And it's that you're only a couple of steps away from being that person, I suppose. You know, it doesn't take, if you strip back all of the sort of offerings that life has given you, or opportunities that life has given you, and you imagine that you're a person that hasn't got any of those opportunities and are therefore grasping at everything that could possibly help you money-wise, and whether that's in drugs or whether that's in child trafficking, it's deeply saddening. And it's that classic thing of, if you're playing somebody who comes across as being an evil character or a baddie or whatever, there has to be a side to them that people can empathize with, or at least you can empathize with and go, I know why I did this. I know what my thought pattern was for this, even if you don't. And that's why in the interview scene with Elaine Cassidy, that's why, you know, she's kind of like, no, you don't understand, this is why I did it. And she's like, yeah, you're right, I don't understand. I don't understand how you can do this. And it's like, you know, please just try to understand that this has been hard. This has been really hard. And I love my daughter, and, you know, so yeah, hard, harrowing, and very, very tiring. But again, my God, on set, the focus, the direction. Sarah O'Gorman had also worked on In the Club, Kay Mellors In the Club. She's just an absolutely beautiful director who I loved working with, and was so kind and so generous, and so sort of allowed you the space in the scene, you know, really backed off and kind of left you in that room with just us 3 actors in there, and obviously crew, but just really backed off to the point of just going, you just keep going, get there, you know. So really, really interesting experience, that. Great program.
It's an amazing show, isn't it? And such an amazing variety of northern talent in that show as well.
Yeah, absolutely, that's it. It's a who's who, isn't it, of northern talent.
Really. It's lovely to see so many northern talents. I can't remember what writer it was. There was a writer who said a quote once, and it was that no character who is seen as a villain thinks of themselves as evil. They always think they're doing something right, and if you're writing a character just to be evil, you're writing a character like that wrong. And I think that's what they did so well in No Offence, is that character doesn't think they're evil. They think they're doing something helpful and good. And
people turn to crime for so many different reasons, you know, and that's the thing, and that's what that's what that program does really well, you know, is that thing of you almost do empathize. It's that sort of anti-hero type thing, isn't it, where it's I get it, I get why she would do that. You just get led, you know. She got led by her partner, you know, and it was like, okay, this is what we're doing now.
100%. And it's so easy to get led by someone that you love to do something that probably
desperate times, you know. Desperate times, desperate measures.
100%. You spoke very briefly at the start about what you're doing now in lockdown, and you're creating this show with I can't remember his name.
Paul Barnhill. I mean, it's not really, it's not even a show. We're kind of we're genuinely just having a bit of a laugh. But when we watched it back and we sent it out to a few people that we really respect, you know, producers and stuff, and just went, oh, have a look at this, we've just done it and it's quite fun. And they've sort of got back to us and just gone, oh, more, we want to see more. So there's no intention behind it to be anything really other than entertainment, I suppose, for our pals in a way. It's kind of like, hey guys, me and Paul did this. But yeah, obviously, you know, we'll keep going with it, and we'll keep caring for it and seeing what happens with Dave and Lana. 2 lovely, very odd, unassuming characters that, again, you just wouldn't put together in real life, but on Zoom they just seem to be hitting it off. So I'd be interested to see what happens, because like I say, we don't write any of it. We go in, we say to each other, right, I'll see you on Zoom at 10 or whatever. He turned up with a pair of sunglasses and a bobble hat on, and I turned up with homemade jewelry and you know, a yellow laced shirt, and off we went. So we're gonna do the next one tomorrow and see how Dave and Lana are getting on. And like I say, I genuinely don't know how they're getting on. It could be a disaster, and they might hate each other by the end of tomorrow, and that's where it ends. Or maybe there is a blossoming romance. Who knows?
I can't wait to see the wedding over Zoom.
Oh yeah. Oh God, that would be lovely, wouldn't it? A little wedding Zoom.
That'd be amazing.
Oh yeah. I mean, depending on how long this bloody thing lasts,
Yeah.
You know, we could have months of
Mm.
Dave and Lana. At the end of it, everyone's like, oh, get rid of Dave and Lana, we're bored of them. But yeah, I love it. I love improvising. I love collaborating. I'm also doing something called Story Swap at the moment.
Yeah.
I run a theatre company called Levy Little Theatre,
Mm.
which is predominantly acting classes, but also sort of the adult arm of it is, at the moment during lockdown, I've invited people to write just 2 to 4 minute films and film themselves doing it. So again, it's relatively low quality. Nobody's got fancy lighting or microphones or whatever. And people have been sending in their little tiny films that I'm going to release via Levy Little Theatre. And some of them have just blown me away, actually. Some of them are just so beautifully shot on an iPhone, you know, and you just look at it and just go, wow, okay, this is what can be done. And it's kind of a way of going, people, you know, right from the beginning of lockdown were going, this is a great time to be creative and proactive and da-da-da. Many people haven't got a way of outletting that. It's not very well for people like myself who, you know, I'm used to technology in some way, even if it is just I know how to film, you know, because I've been in front of the camera. But some people will have these ideas and go, oh, wouldn't it be funny if you did this? And won't make it because they kind of go, well, why should I?
Yeah.
So I kind of wanted to invite people, everybody as well. And I haven't invited specifically, you know, my actor pals or my writer pals to get involved, although some have. I've invited everybody to say, if you've had an idea, send it to me and let's broadcast it and just show people how you're feeling or how you envisage one person might feel in this situation. But I'm very, very honoured and lucky that Peter Bowker has written a monologue.
Wow.
That he wrote for me. So I'm going to somehow learn that and somehow film that as well. And that'll be released as part of Story Swap as well. So yeah, I'm really looking forward to seeing what comes of that.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to seeing what Levy Little Theatre does. And
it's weird. As soon as lockdown happened, I was kind of like, okay, well, this is just, we're going to have to rest for a bit. And then you go, well, actually, could we do Zoom classes? Actually, could I do this little film project? And before you know it, you're still going, you know, the business is still going. It's lovely. And it's lovely to see my kids, even if it is via Zoom in little boxes, you know, it's lovely to see them and keep contact with them.
Yeah, 100%. And keep them going and creating and
keep them engaged and keep them feeling connected to each other. And, you know, that my youth group, who are sort of 12 to 17, who are supremely talented, they were just, it's so annoying because they were just before lockdown, they had just created this really beautiful relationship as an ensemble. It sounds a little bit, you know, oh, beautiful relationship as an ensemble. But genuinely, we were doing one exercise where I just watched them and just went, guys, you were really working together. This is brilliant. I was really annoyed because I was so ready to go, boom, okay, let's go. Let's make this, you know, because I'm all about sort of impro and devising and that sort of thing.
Yeah.
And then lockdown happened. So I was determined not to let them lose that. And it isn't the same. Of course, it's not the same on a computer screen, but they are still seeing each other and going, oh, there's so-and-so, there's so-and-so, brilliant. Yeah. Oh, I love that idea. Clap, clap, clap. You know, there is still that frisson there, which is lovely. So yeah, I'm really pleased.
Yeah, 100%. And that's really lovely to hear. And keeping going with Levy Little Theatre and doing Dave and Lana. Everyone should go and check Dave and Lana out as well.
Thank you. Yeah. If you go onto my Twitter page or Instagram, there'll be a Vimeo link on there if you want to watch Dave and Lana, and there will be a second one being released probably within the next couple of days.
Yeah, so we've got that to look forward to as well.
Yeah.
And the A Word is on BBC One next Tuesday at 9.
It is, although you can just binge watch it right now.
Yeah.
It's all on there right now. So all series as well, 1, 2 and 3. Just, you know, lockdown watching is sorted.
Yeah.
But yeah, it goes out live on Tuesdays at 9 o'clock on BBC One.
Yeah, that's amazing. And
it's gorgeous. It's a brilliant series, this one. It's gorgeous.
Yeah. It's just lovely. It's a lovely show. And I love it. And then Cotton Wool is now available on Prime Video for.
It is on Amazon Prime. How exciting is that?
Exciting, yeah.
It's so brilliant and it's well deserved. And I'm so, I've been pushing it and going, so proud to be involved in this, because it's like, yes, it's out there for everyone to see, and it should be.
Yeah.
So yeah, check it out, Amazon Prime.
Yeah, I'm so excited and intrigued to see what everyone thinks about it and what everyone says about it and shares.
Yeah, the feedback will be really interesting, but I have no doubts whatsoever that the feedback will just be, what a special film.
Yeah, and I think that's come across with all the awards and all the nominations and all the film festivals.
Incredible. It was literally like each day just like, bling, we've won this, bling, we've won that, bling, we've won that. Like, what?
Shut up about all your film awards.
Oh, shut up, Nick. Yeah, what a brilliant talent. Yeah.
Yeah, 100%. And it's been really lovely to chat with you as well. And
really lovely to chat with you. Thank you
for joining me. Thank you so much. Thank you so much to Gemma North for speaking to me today. Cotton Wool is now available on Prime Video. Thank you so much for watching.